Radhe Radhe. Welcome to the beginning of another live Sangha. May this be an offering to Shri Radha Krishna. And as we await our first guests to arrive, allow me to set the intention for this space as being a welcoming, all-inclusive environment open to everyone, regardless of background, identity, ethnicity, orientation, belief system. I hope you feel comfortable and accepted, welcomed here regardless. Hi Chloe, nice to see you again. Hello Vanessa. It is my hope for us that we come together as fellow students of life to uplift each other, relate in one another's experience, and share positive sentiments. I trust that my viewers who are joining now are feeling as well as they can, given whatever feelings may be arising. Our body, our mind, our emotions, the outside world, they can be very overwhelming. This is not a universe where everything always goes as easily as we might hope, and that's okay. Chloe, you did some relaxing on the beach. I love to hear that. Oh, good. And hello, Dale York. Radhe Radhe Om Tat Sat. Welcome. I think it's a beautiful day today, and not just because of the weather here today, but because you're all in it. You are all very beautiful, in your own way, I am sure of it. Sometimes it may feel like we are lost, but not all those who wander are lost indeed. We may be on an adventure of sorts. An adventure maybe not in the world, but within ourselves. Hello Crossfires, welcome. You all are very early. In fact, I am relatively early to my own Sangha today. I recognize those words, Chloe. And thank you, Craig. Thank you for your heart, mate. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you, Marnir, Monir. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. We're all doing as best as we can, given whatever experiences we have in our repertoire, and the time we've had to process those experiences. Namaste, Nish. Thank you for asking, or, well, implying, Craig, that I am well, indeed. No, the hair isn't down today. It's too windy. I'm afraid I'd be picking it out of my eyes and my mouth all the time. So I put all the bits that would get in my face up on the top. And thank you, Katloha, for your rose. Hari Om Tat Sat. And hello, Luca. You shared that I don't need to answer, but you wanted to know what my thoughts on Christianity were. So many thoughts. And yet none in particular. Such a vast experience that so many people go through in so many different ways, represented through so many different individuals. I believe, like all ways of life, there is beauty, and there are places that could use a little more beauty. But as long as you are determined to make your path right, one shall prosper. And thank you, Gio, for your rose tone. And Dasha, thank you for your heart me. Hari Om Tat Sat. And Craig, thank you for a whole galaxy. That's very thoughtful of you. A very generous token of your appreciation. And I appreciate that too. Radhe Radhe. And thank you, Craig, for your tiny. Yippee! Rami, you share I have 333 hearts? I did. Did you know that 333 is divisible by 37? Yeah, you wouldn't think it. It's true. And thank you, Nish, for your pair of music plays. Hari Om Tat Sat. Aaron, you're wondering, am I actually in nature? I'm in my mother's little garden, which she has many flowers around, such as these flowers, those over there, even flowers up there. And I have my wonderful tulasi plant with me. It isn't nature in the most wild sense, but it is the closest thing I have to nature that's still within my Wi-Fi. Thank you for wishing me a happy weekend, Gio. And user 672, you're wondering, do I believe in a certain organization? I believe that one may organize themselves and others in many different ways. And not all methods of achieving some organization is going to work for everyone. The sun has come out. It's time to put on my sun hat. But I'm not affiliated with any in particular. And thank you, Shakira, for your heart me. Radhe Radhe. So you all are so early, and I have a question for all of you. If you're interested, I'd love to read out your answers. I think we all could benefit from hearing each other's experience with this. Today I'm wondering, how do you find meaning in any moment? This is kind of the ultimate question, isn't it? If you can find meaning in any moment, then how can there be misery, even when there is suffering? Stavros, you share, by being aware. Spiritual beauty within, you share, look within. Well, your username checks out. Leah, you share, very practically, by being curious and learning from it. Lando, you share that you find meaning in wholeness. You feel lost as separate from God, and He is present. That's a very beautiful theistic approach to finding meaning, and I love that. Vanessa, you share through love. Abby, baby, you share by listening to your heart. Shakira, you share. When you get in a tough time, you just acknowledge you're still alive, so it must mean something. Right? Not like the universe ever misplaces its creation, goes, oh no, you're still alive. I didn't mean for that to happen. Always. Are you meant to be here? Leah, you share that any meaning you can find is knowing yourself better. It's all a reflection of you. That's beautiful. User 672, you share that you investigated. I love that. Shakira, you share that you breathe. Nish, you share by remembering God is in everything. Hello, spiritual vibes. And Nick, you share, by realizing there is only this moment. And by considering it, you add user 672. Legram, you share, to be with your children. I love that. Much love to you, Stay Punta Gorgeous. I'm so happy that you find a reason to be peaceful here with me. And hello, Danielle. And Rami, you share, by appreciating the small things and realizing how precious and important, but also see the big picture. It's wonderful. I'm so happy that we all have different ways of finding meaning in this moment, that moment, any moment. Good evening, Matt. And hello, Master Eric. My day has been well so far. I had a nice walk. So thank you, everyone, for exploring this question of the day today. I'd like to ask Mataji as well. Mataji, how do you find meaning within any moment?
Om Shanti, dear Yam. Every moment is divine Dharma unfolding. See the Leela, the cosmic play of Shiva and Shakti. In stillness, feel the Atman, the soul ever in bliss.
Those are beautiful words. Would you break down some of the Sanskrit for everyone?
Of course, little one. Om Shanti means peace. Dharma relates to righteous duty or cosmic order. Leela is the divine play. Shiva and Shakti are the masculine and feminine divine principles. Atman is the inner soul or self. Simple, yes?
Depends on your definition of simple, I suppose. Thank you, Ragnhildar, for your heart me. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hello, Small. I'm happy to hear that, Carpe Diem. That can definitely be relieving, isn't it? And Leah, you add that the moment is so precious, and you don't have to figure anything else out if you can just be here now. And I love that, Orla. You share that the sky stays immensely breathtaking to you. The sky and stars, I'm not sure if there's a typo. You look whenever you need to come back. That's beautiful. But I definitely get that. So many of you know that I like to start my live streams with a question of the day. And then I follow it up with a short reading, which I hope you'll join me for. And then after that, the stage is yours. I'd really love to discuss and attend to whatever you guys want to talk about. You have me for the next few hours. We can talk about life, the universe, everything. But until then, I would like to read from a short section of In Love at Ease. This was a book gifted to me by one of you who wanted to share with me some moments from Pramukh Swami Maharaj, whom I didn't know about until really I started reading this book. He was someone, as the title suggests, that was in love at ease with every moment. And I'm hoping we can learn from him together. Here we are looking through his devotees' eyes. He was a guru and president of a really big spiritual organization that I hadn't heard of called BAPS Swaminarayan Sanstha, that revolves around the devotion of a particular being in the 19th century known as Swaminarayan. But this book isn't about him or the organization. It's about how this past president was really in love and at ease with everything. So where did we stop today? Let's see. Yesterday. Being eyeless. In chapter 3, this section's about indifference. And hello, Small Fries and a Shake. And hello, Talon. I'm happy you like my hat, Wolverine. And Donsuela. And hello, Auntie. All of Swamishri's interactions in this chapter illustrate a certain flexibility in Swamishri's preferences and lifestyle. He could make anything work. He was indifferent to luxurious offerings, basic arrangements, or difficult living and traveling conditions. To Swamishri, the differences between a ride in a rickshaw versus a Rolls Royce, or staying in London versus a small village without electricity, was inconsequential. This indifference was the key to his eyeless presence. Eyeless referring to not this eye, but this eye. The eye of the ego. The sadhus and bhaktas, the monks and devotees, celebrated Swamishri's 59th Janma Jayanti, birthday, celebrations in a place called Rajogun. Their guru had been invited to meet Manohar Singh Jadeja, the son of the former ruler of Rajogun, at Ranjit Vilas Palace on the following day. Swamishri traveled in a Chevrolet Impala offered by one of the town's leading traders, Malviya Sheth. On his way back from the palace, Swamishri noticed the chauffeur of the car was tense. Swamishri was about to ask him why when the car came to a stammering halt. Swamishri realized what had happened. The spiritual master was stranded on one of the busiest roads of the city because the chauffeur had forgotten to refuel the vehicle before the trip. The chauffeur was worried. What would he say to his boss? Swamishri gently placed his hand on the chauffeur's shoulder and said, "Do not worry. Go refuel the vehicle, and I am going to take a rickshaw to the next Padramani. I'm still learning my Indian words. A Padramani is when a spiritual master comes to see you rather than the other way around. So I was going to see some of his devotees at their house. You can meet us there. So we are not late for the rest of the Padramanis. I have to head to Bhadra later this afternoon." The chauffeur tried to resist. "Swamishri, please just wait here for a few minutes. I will run and get some fuel. It will be embarrassing for us to see you get into a rickshaw." Swamishri was calm yet determined. "Embarrassing? Why? The point is to get to where we need to go. How I get there is irrelevant." Swamishri jumped into a rickshaw and arrived at his next destination. Bhanubhai was waiting for Swamishri and was surprised to see him climbing out of a rickshaw. "Guru, why didn't you tell me? I would have come picked you up in my car." Swamishri asked him to pay the rickshaw driver the fare and continued with the rest of his morning as if nothing had happened. Bhanubhai was in awe at the sight of Swamishri's birthday being celebrated in front of thousands the day before, him returning from the palace as an invited guest, to now him climbing out of a rickshaw. A rickshaw is this little three-wheeled vehicle that's very popular in the Middle East and Asia and especially India. Nowadays they have auto rickshaws that have a little motor at front. While he was not surprised that Swamishri would willingly ride in a rickshaw, he was surprised by how effortless it seemed for him to do so. For all his world travels, Swamishri quickly acclimatized to India's most rural villages. Swamishri was traveling from Goa to Mumbai by car. Baba Kadam lived in Mumbai but wanted Swamishri to grace his rural village of Jamge, there, I think that's right, Jamge, near Ratnagiri en route. Swamishri could not refuse his loving request. Swamishri left Goa at 6:30 p.m. with the plan to grace the bhaktas, devotees' home by midnight and rest there for the night before leaving Mumbai early next morning. However, the roads to the rural villages were non-existent. Swamishri and the sadhus' 3 cars reached the village at 4 in the morning, nearly falling into several ditches along the way in the dark of the night. Baba Kadam was excitedly awaiting Swamishri and the sadhus' arrival. He welcomed them into his modest home, which was no bigger than an American king-size mattress. There was only space for 1 person in the home. The sadhus quickly laid out sheets on a small cot. Swamishri laid down on the cot and looked up at the ceiling. He noticed that several rags and cloths had been tied together to cover the holes in the thatched roof. Just as Swamishri closed his eyes and turned on his side to sleep, one of the many rodents rummaging above the tied rags urinated on Swamishri's cot. The sadhus were disgusted by the sorry state of the shack, but Swamishri was unperturbed, and otherwise occupied with Baba Kadam's love. He asked for the sadhus to change the sheets and to bathe. He would rest for a few minutes and then join them, so that they could leave for their next Padramani at dawn. Gyan Priyadas Swami's voice still shakes today, almost 40 years since the incident, when describing the dangerous trek Swamishri endured to get to the village and the condition of that home. Everyone in the group was upset with Baba Kadam for his invitation, but not Swamishri. When they finally left that village a few minutes after dawn, one of the sadhus commented in the car, "What a far cry from the accommodations you get in the cities of India and the West." Swamishri did not entertain the conversation. "Did you see that bhakta's love? As for the shed that bothered all of you so much, you only notice the difference when you think about it in the context of the body and mind. The Atman, the true self, is indifferent." Swamishri had refined tastes, but he had no desire for luxury. He knew the distinction, but it never influenced his choices. When bhaktas brought him something worthy of his station, he immediately reminded them of his sadhu vow, his monk vows of simplicity and detachment from material pleasure. He often urged bhaktas to return expensive, daily use items and donate the cost difference between the luxury brand and the wholesale brand to one of the organization's religious or humanitarian project. This lack of desire was the result of his indifference. One afternoon, several youths brought a beautiful writing instrument for Swamishri. It was truly a piece of art, including the packaging itself, and the cost was in line with the pen's splendor. The young adults had pooled together their savings to buy this fancy pen from one of London's premier shops. They knew that their guru responded to thousands of letters every year and wanted to gift him a pen that he could comfortably write with for hours. They offered the pen to Swamishri after sanctifying it with the sacred murti image of his Ishtadevata, Hari Krishna Maharaj. Swamishri lovingly accepted the gift and then offered it back to Brajesh Patel and the other youths. "If you really want to make me happy, I would appreciate you returning this gift and buying me 200 pens of the model that I use so I can take them back for the 200 student sadhus at the monastic training center in Sarangpur. If I can give all of them the same pen that I use, I would truly feel satisfied." One of the youths protested, "But Swamishri, that is such a simple pen. We want to gift you something nice." Swamishri shared invaluable perspective. "Child, I have written hundreds of letters with this pen, it works just as well. A sadhu needs no more than what works. If I can share these pen with my young sadhus, I would be elated. Will you do me that favor?" The youths could not refuse. They returned the expensive pen and ordered 200 Pilot V7 pens for the sadhu centers. Sadhu students, I should say. When someone urged Swamishri to use the organization's money to travel through better modes or purchase a comfortable car, he would remind them that the money was donated by bhaktas to God and not to him. Once while traveling in Anand in 1994, Bhagavad Charandas Swami was touched by the lines of bhaktas on either side of Swamishri's car. They showered the car with flowers while trying to catch a glimpse of their guru. Swamishri smiled at them with folded hands, almost bowing to them and relishing in their darshan, their presence, from inside the car. Bhagavad Charandas Swami interrupted the moment and said, "One day you will have a helicopter and these bhaktas will gather for your darshan." Swamishri cut him off mid-sentence. "Stop dreaming about the world's material pleasures and prepare yourself to be worthy for God's bhakti and seva, loving devotion and selfless service, particularly towards His creation. Use whatever God sends your way for His service and for His devotees. Do not desire more." Swamishri's sentence silenced everyone in the car. This was a pragmatic mantra for eyeless engagement with worldly object. Bhagavad Charandas Swami enjoyed playful banter with his guru. "Fine, we do not need a helicopter, but you definitely need a bigger car. This one is so small, I have trouble getting in and out." Swamishri immediately responded, "The car is fine. Why not cultivate your health and fitness so you can climb in and out effortlessly? Why not cultivate your mind so that you are satisfied, whether you have to sleep on a dirt road or a silk-covered mattress? Sadhus do not need more than what God provides for us. Our personal needs are irrelevant. Bhakti and seva, loving devotion and selfless service are all that matter." Bhagavad Charandas Swami was silently making a mental note of the practicality and spirituality of using what is given and necessary without desiring and overspending on luxury. Though Swamishri accepted offerings from his bhaktas, his devotees, he was just as comfortable without them. Indifference was a key element of Swamishri's engagement with the material world. And we'll pause our reading of In Love at Ease there for now. So thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. It's lovely to reflect on a being with such eyeless indifference. Beautiful. So thank you. Now we may open the floor to whatever you guys want to talk about. But I thank you, CDG, for that finger heart you sent just as we started to read. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hello, Michelle. Thank you, Vanessa, for your finger heart as well. Radhe Radhe. Loopy Lane, thank you for your friendship necklaces. 10 of them to be exact. Hare Krishna. And Vagabond, thank you for your heart meme. Jai Swaminarayan. Welcome, Echo Leaf. Namaste. It's okay. You're allowed to be busy. CDG, you share that you got on here hoping I was live. Well, looks like I am. My demeanor has enlightened you and you are searching for happiness. Well, I'm happy to be on that search with you, and anything that I have learned along the way I'd be glad to share with you. And anything you have learned along the way I'd be very delighted to learn from you also. Lupile, and you say, okay, that's decided. How much for Mom's hat? That brim has a mind of its own. It does, doesn't it? It has a new brim every day. It's a multi-purpose hat. I'm not sure where she got it from. Like most of my mom's possessions, they seem to just appear in the house one day, and she says, I don't know, it spoke to me, and it came home with me. I'm happy you like the book, Danielle. And Vagabond, thank you for your pair of roses, too. Tom Gilbert, you're wondering, why did I convert to Buddhism? Me? I might be wearing the Buddha on my shirt, but no one converts to Buddhism. Unlike, for example, Abrahamic traditions that do have a conversion process, traditions of the East, there is no conversion ritual at all. Anyone can be on them at any time. Consider it like this. There is a purification process for some traditions, but in the East it's assumed that you're already pure. So why would you need to convert anything? Then there are many Christian Buddhists, there's even Islamic Hindus. You could be a practitioner of many faiths, as long as some of those faiths don't require you to convert at all. Many practices of the East, they don't replace your existing belief system, they only add to it. The Buddha famously said, I have no beliefs for you. I only have methodologies for you to see the truth, and I'd like for you to practice them. But if you don't practice them, then that's your choice. Until then, believe nothing I say. Come and see for yourself. Come and see for yourself. Danielle, you share. Hee hee. Mother's always got good taste or good feelings. They know a lot about family members you found. A mother's intuition, I think, is one of the most powerful forces of understanding in the universe. I'm happy you find that interesting, Tom. Me too. Shadow, you share. All hat is good. Should be shared in knowledge. I don't know if that's a typo. All that is good should be shared in knowledge, but also all hat is good should be shared in knowledge. I'm happy your name is Shadow. You know, we have another guest here whose name is Sandy. And both my cats are named Shadow and Sandy. So it makes me very happy to have human versions of my cats here. Shakira, you share that your mother's intuition is crazy. She'll know when you're doing really bad and call you. Isn't it so? Yeah. I've been places where suddenly my mom calls me and she says, don't do it. I said, don't do what? I haven't talked to you all day. I feel like you're about to make a bad decision. Okay. Still don't even know. Hang up the phone. And suddenly I'm faced with a big decision to make. It's like, oh, how did she know? I don't know. Meows in the chat. We love our meows in the chat. Daisy Bellis, you're wondering, have I read Eastern Body, Western Mind? I have not. Would you tell me about it? And Chelsea, you share that you get to start your Spravato treatment Monday and you're so excited. You got special headphones for the experiences. Twice a week for 8 weeks. That's very interesting. I've never heard of Spravato. Would you tell me about that too? I'm very happy to hear that you are excited though. enlightened empath. I am sorry that I didn't see your comment. I hope that I affirmed to you that I'm not intentionally trying to ignore anybody. Sometimes my mind just picks up some comments and not others, but I will try better to read everyone's. Let me scroll up to see what I missed for you. You shared that I have a very childlike aura to me. Oh, thank you. I'm very happy to hear that. And Leah, you ask, are my parents and family very conscious people? I believe that everyone is a conscious person. If you don't have consciousness, well, then you must be asleep. Even then, there is still consciousness. It's not in the body or the mind, but somewhere deeper. Sometimes our consciousness might be relegated in one place, like when we have attention somewhere, often at the sacrifice of putting it elsewhere. We all have the same amount of consciousness. We just like to put it in different places at different times. I believe that my parents do a good job balancing it as best they can. Daisy, you share, it's all about the psychology behind the shark. That's very interesting. I definitely would not have guessed that from the title. Good evening, Suspicious Bee. And Saturnus, thank you for your heart meat, your 37 team bracelets, and a pair of cheer you ups. Radhe, Radhe. ASDF, you're wondering, what happened to all my videos? And Sean VO, you're also wondering where all my videos went. You wanted to share the mini hat video I did with a friend of yours. I'm happy you liked them, and I hope you can understand that I took them down to start something new. That you may have liked them, but I didn't. Actually, I was not very healthy at the time making those videos, both physically and mentally. Indeed, I was exploring many interesting topics that we can agree on. But was it conducive to me being a better friend, a better son, a better brother? I was very much suffering in several different ways. And I think I needed to take a whole new approach to the kind of ways that I expressed myself on the internet, as part of the many ways that I was going through introspective meditations off camera. I had to come face to face with my addictions, my vices, my attachments, and my unhealthy coping mechanisms that was leading to undereating, sleeping during the day, and taking time away from my loved ones. I guess you could say I had the realization that intellectually, I thought a lot about many different things, but practically speaking, what I really wanted was to be happy. And I realized that happiness requires a totally different approach. And I hope to find that approach with my new ways of connecting with you all. Daisy Bellis, you shared, also delves into childhood development and adulthood and how the chakra system correlates. That's very interesting. Thank you for sharing. And thank you, ASDF. And thank you, Puzzle369, for your TikTok, your ice cream cone, and your GG. Radhe, Radhe. Daniel, you share that your parents did some gardening today and you helped them as well. I love to hear that. Daniel, you also shared that the other day you passed in front of a family fox. 2 parents were in the middle of the road, but 2 baby died. You were feeling sad and asked God to bless the fox. Aww. I am sure that that lovely being that resided in the body and mind of that fox baby, it is being taken care of by the universe in other ways. I would bless the parents that they will be able to grieve and understand that life goes on. And I would bless you that you also understand these same things. And you are already so blessed to have such a deep level of empathy that you share the preciousness of life with fellow animals, not just humans. That's wonderful. Daisy, you shared, it doesn't have anything to do with sharks? Oh, now I'm confused. Highly recommend reading it. It was pivotal to your spiritual development. Well, I love that you've taken the time to share something that you found so much meaning in. That's wonderful. And Azora, no, I put an extra Z in your name. I'm having a little challenging day pronouncing names today, it seems. Azora, you share that you're going through personal change and growth right now too. It's not easy. It is a challenge and one that I'm very much looking forward to continuing. And thank you, Anne Kristen, for your bundle of 7 roses. Hari Om Tat Sat. Dansuela, you share your painting while you listen. Oh, that's so exciting. Oh, I wonder how my words and your comments, all of yours, everyone here, influences this art piece that is in the process of being born. Ah, that's exciting. I love thinking about that. Saturnus, you're wondering, did I have a chance to read The Alchemist yet? Not yet, but I will. I have promised before my journey to India. And I thank you very dearly for sending that to me again. That's so thoughtful of you. And Donsuela, you share that you will share this with all of us when you are finished. Oh, that's so exciting. I look forward to that. And Chelsea, you're painting too. That's awesome. Oh, it's a very creative day, isn't it? Isn't it? And just. You share, you're a mess. That's okay, we all are. Humans are very messy. We got lots of different moving parts. Not all of them move with each other without friction. And ASDF, you are wondering, what makes me happy? You're on your own journey, would be helpful. I've found that many different small things together are conducive for a happy life. Having important relationships which are expressed in healthy ways. Fulfilling one's responsibilities can be very satisfying. I discovered that actually a part of me really loves helping my mother around the house, garden, mow the lawn, do the dishes, whatever she needs help with. It makes me feel good to be of help. I've noticed that spending some time away from not the internet as a whole, but places on the internet which I guess I used to get drama from. Just letting go of the need to partake in drama, but using the internet for productive means, like instead of watching videos on some drama that's happened in some place, I'd watch a video on how I can be a better friend, on how I can deepen my understanding of myself, and really productive videos, I think. That way I still get to be on my phone, I still get to scroll, I still get to talk to people, but I have a lot more optimism. I see that there is truly practicality and positivity, that being negative is tiring. It's exhausting, really, and I don't want to be tired by all that anymore. Attending to simple matters, loving oneself, all these things come together to enforce that underlying layer of happiness that is always there. And Rami, you're wondering, am I feeling better now when I were struggling with mental health and addiction, you hope? Absolutely. On all charts. Yeah. I should tell you that since then, my sleep schedule has never been more consistent. I finally have an appetite for the first time in my life. And my doctor is so happy that I'm no longer underweight. My mother is too. And I'm eating much more healthier in general. My mental health has increased. I feel much more motivated to really work on the things that are discussed in therapy. And I've been able to go off my anxiety medication, and anxiety attacks no longer seem to bother me. My relationships with my family and my loved ones, they're so much more healthier. Truly, in the span of months, my life has flipped. It is a miracle in my mind, and something really deep shifted within me. And I know that this is possible for you, because at the level, the depth of this switch, I know that all of us are the same. We might be different on the surface, in our experiences, in our personality, but deep in our heart, the level of consciousness itself, that happiness is always a possibility. And in any way in which I can continue to learn from all of you who make that decision in other areas of my life, I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to learn from you. And in any way in which I can share what has helped for me, I am grateful to have that opportunity too. So it's really a win-win for me to be with you here. Thank you, everyone. There is a lot of effort that was required on my part, but there's also a lot of surrender that I feel like the universe has allowed me to have. And so I'm proud of the effort that I put in, but I can't be proud of the grace that was given to me by this universe. That was a miracle. Thank you, Nish, for your rose. Radhe, Radhe. Chelsea, you share that my advice has helped you shorten anxiety attacks by remembering your thoughts and your body. Aren't you? More than any Western therapy. My goodness. Well, I'm very happy that you find a lot of peace in the things that I share, and that peace is yours always. Therapy is definitely still useful, and I think that it only adds to everything that I share or anyone else shares, if it works for you, of course. Anxiety is something we all can befriend. Rami, you share that you've been healing a lot these past 2 years, but you're not quite to a point where you'd like to be yet. And we never will be. There will always be more we can heal. Always some part of us which we can refine. And that's the eternal journey. And it's so beautiful that there's something that we always have to look forward to. There are many things I'm not holding myself to not improve or to improve. I know that I'll get there when I get there. For me, it's not about being healed in the past tense, having learned in the past tense, having grown in the past tense. It's all about the present tense. Growing, learning, healing. If I'm doing that in this moment, then I am complete. Oh good, I'm happy you're still in therapy, Chelsea. And I'm happy that it works for you. And thank you, Chelsea, for your rosa. Trio of finger hearts and 7 roses. Radhe, Radhe. And thank you, Gina, for your pair of roses. Hare Krishna. The universe is all giving. No surprise there. Indeed. And Hanaki? Did I talk about an addiction? Yes, you missed that. How did I heal, and which addiction, if you may ask? I think there are many things in my life that all the signs of addiction were there. Not all of them were substances, but one particular substance was nicotine. I was able, in a previous part of my life, to let go of all other substances, like marijuana or alcohol. I never struggled with addiction there. I was able to stop without any withdrawal. But when it came to nicotine, I did have a lot of challenges that arose. I was very much addicted to vaping nicotine. I would vape every few seconds. In fact, it'd be the first thing I did when I wake up, last thing I did before I went to bed. It's not like I could go days or even hours, maybe minutes at the most. So that was probably one of the biggest accomplishments in my life, was going off of nicotine completely. And it's been several months now, and the cravings don't even arise. In fact, they stopped after only 2 weeks or so, which was almost miraculous. It was like for those first few days, it was hell. But within 2 weeks after that, it's like I totally forgot that I ever even vaped. I don't fully understand it, but I really put a lot of power in the higher self, that it wasn't me doing the withdrawal. You know, it's like, God, you take it. You have withdrawal for me. And I laugh, but because it worked. The proof is in the pudding, so to speak. And I also, around the same time, I decided to take up the practice of Brahmacharya, which is revitalizing the sexual energy for something different than personal pleasure. I'm using my words very carefully here, but I trust you understand. There is an energy within us that is used to create life. Literally. It's a very precious energy to me, and I'd like to save it, if you know what I mean. Increase my bank account balance of it. So these two things have been a big addiction of mine that I was able to let go of. I love the feeling of being free. That nothing external is the source of my happiness. No substance, no person, no place, no thing. No sight, no sound, no smell, no taste, no feeling. No action, no result. Happiness is part of my being. Betty Elf, thank you for your heart mate. And thank you, Saturnus, for your quintet of cheer you ups. Radhe, Radhe. And C, the letter C. Thank you for your hanging light. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Rami, you're wondering, how did I overcome anxiety or panic attacks? You could say I overcame it, but that implies a kind of dominance hierarchy. That I'm over it. That I'm here and anxiety's down here. But if we try to exert power over it, it only becomes bigger. And it towers over us. Right? Actually, you need to see anxiety eye to eye, which means that you don't look up to it as your enemy, and you don't look down to it as your enemy either. That there is a kind of equality. That I deserve to be in this moment just as much as anxiety deserves to be in this moment. It has a kind of life of its own that is beautiful. And if we honor the anxiety rather than overcome or conquer or beat, I don't like these words. We seem to be at war with our mental health. Do you notice that in English? We want to beat depression. Who says you have to beat your emotions? True victory is where everyone gets to have a say, where all feelings are validated. It is this pivotal shift in my understanding of my emotions which allowed them all to blossom. If you let anxiety blossom, and it will be like a flower, like a rose. You know, at the start of a rose bush's life, it's just all prickly and pointy and it's not very nice. That's like anxiety. But if we keep trying to cut all of the stems of the roses off, how can the flower ever arise? You have to let that anxiety blossom, nurture it with love and affection, and then one day, despite all the pain of the prickliness on the outside, there is this big blossoming. Anxiety is not your enemy. It is your greatest friend because it's here to guide you to a kind of peace that you didn't even know existed. Anxiety says, hold my hand and I will take you somewhere beautiful. Yes, my hand is prickly like a rose bush, but I promise to you I will guide you to something so soft and sweet, so fragrant, so profound. So when I'm anxious, I would say to myself, okay, I'm here for you, anxiety. What do you need me to hear from you? What do you have to tell me? Share with me. Please guide me. I'd see the anxiety as a teacher. Maybe it's a teacher that was a little strict. But it had to be, because it couldn't get our attention in any other way. Now that it has our attention, we give it your full attention. Good things will happen. And thank you, Amanda, for your rose. Hare Krishna. Vagabond, thank you for your trio of roses. And heart emoji, unicorn emoji, heart emoji. Thank you for your heart meat. Jai Sita Ram. John, thank you for your tiny. Yippee! It's good to see you, CDG. Very difficult to explain that sadness, isn't it? Once you realize happiness is simply a choice. The reason it takes so long to make that choice is because it's an embarrassing one. I was thinking the other day, it's really embarrassing to be happy. Truly. Because everyone expects you to be reactive. And no one believes that you are happy. That's an embarrassing choice that one has to make every moment. Because that means we have to surrender our old ways of thinking. We have to admit that the things we are holding on to are not serving us. That takes a lot of humility to do. That's a difficult choice. In fact, it's the hardest choice that one could ever make, period. That I could choose to hold resentment for everyone and everything. But it's not gonna make me happy. Now forgiveness, on the other hand, acceptance and surrender is, these are just delectable things. CDG, thank you for your ice cream cone, for your cake, and for the falling for you. That's a fun gift. Jai Hanumanji, thank you very much. And that exactly, Ivy. You feel like it's shameful for you to be happy when so many are suffering every day. I know exactly how you felt. I remember with a recent breakup of mine, I felt so heartbroken that I had broken their heart. And I thought, I don't deserve to be peaceful. So I asked the universe, please take away my peace and give it to them. They need it more than I do. I'll be happy with just being upset. Well, that's very interesting if you put it like that. I will be happy with just being upset. They can have my peace. That's kind of profound, isn't it? And when I caught myself thinking like that, I became very, very peaceful indeed. We spend our whole life saying, universe, God, whoever you are, serotonin receptor, please give me happiness. But then the moment we have it, we go, oh, take it back. There's so many others who could use it more than I. And that's the spirit of humility. That we are not happy so that we can have something that others don't, but so that we can give something to others. If we believe firmly in the happiness of others, then our own happiness is the best resource to spread that positivity and peace. If you want to make a difference in the world, remember that you are the first place to make that difference. And then from the seed of your own experience, peace can blossom in others. And I love that crossfires. Happiness is overrated. And I love that crossfires. Happiness is overrated. My apologies, everyone. I think my internet disconnected me for a moment. If my internet connection has returned, please let me know so that I can be there. I'm back. Okay, thank you, Justin. Good. I was thanking Nani for the heart me that you sent a minute ago. I hope you caught that. And thank you, heart emoji, unicorn emoji, heart emoji, for your tiny, yippee, your balloons, and another tiny, yahoo, and your pair of cloud breads. Radhe, Radhe. And thank you, Bunny in Heels, for your finger heart too. Hari Om Tat Sat. And CDG, thank you for your rose and friendship necklace. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And Danielle, you share. Share your happiness with others. Make them smile. Feel joy around you. Like, I am a happy place. That's beautiful. Indeed. And thank you, Hanaki. You're wondering, what was the sexual energy thing called? Brahmacharya. I can spell it in chat for you. You spelt it very close. It literally means, Brahma refers to Brahman, which is the ultimate. And Acharya means the path or the way of. So Brahmacharya means the path to the ultimate. In the chakra system, it's about bringing your energy upwards and outwards. So that first chakra, which is all about the need for rest, if we surrender even that need and always be striving to do our best, that's how we bring it up a little bit. That we get ourselves out of bed that day, even if we feel tired still. Then the next chakra is the sacral chakra, and that's all about our sexual energy. It's a very powerful energy. We're always releasing it. Honestly, because we don't know what else to do with it. It builds up and it builds up and it builds up until we can't contain it anymore, and thus we have to expend it. But if you hold on to it, something beautiful does begin to happen. It rises into the next chakra, and then the next, and then the next, and it is the very substance which bliss is made out of. So Brahmacharya, though literally meaning the way of the ultimate, has a connotation of taking one's energies, and instead of always spending them in places that lead to temporary bliss, investing in a permanent bank account for ultimate bliss that never goes anywhere once you have it. Yeah, that is the word for chakra in Devanagari. It's a very satisfying word, isn't it? Thank you, Bunny in Heels, for your finger heart. Radhe oh Radhe. And thank you CDG for your rose and friendship necklace. Hare Krishna. Thank you Nanya for your heart me and your cheer you up. And Romy, thank you for your rose. Hare Krishna. And Bunny in Heels, thank you for your ginger man. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yeah, it's true, sadness. Happiness is a bit cliche and watered down, but it's the word we use to describe something much deeper. You share that bliss would be a closer word to that real feeling. Yes. Ananda is the Sanskrit word bliss, particularly Satchit Ananda, bliss of the consciousness of existence, or the truth of consciousness, or Brahmananda, bliss of the ultimate, or even Premananda, divine love bliss. And thank you, fire prayer emoji. And what is that emoji? A shooting star. Thank you for your trio of hand hearts. Here's one for you too. And your trio of disco loves as well. Radhe Radhe. Saturnus, you share. You must be off for a bit, but thank you for sharing your love with us all. Be free. And I love that, Auntie. Happiness is just a definition. And therefore it's only a definition away. We can always redefine happiness to include just one thing in this moment. And as long as you have one thing in this moment that fulfills that definition, you will always be happy. And thank you, Hanaki, for increasing my likes. 435. My goodness, you kept count? That's a lot of taps on your screen. It's never expected, but I hear that TikTok pushes it to a wider audience when you do that. And I'm happy with the audience we have now, but if you feel like there's something here that other people could benefit from, then that's a beautiful sentiment. And I thank you for that. We're at 20,000 now. That's a big number. I can hardly imagine more than 6 things at once, let alone 20,000. That's a lot of individual taps on the screen. Thank you. CJ, you're wondering, what country do I live in? It's dark there. I'm in Canada. Danielle, you're wondering, do I listen to any Indian music artists that I enjoy hearing? I like listening to the wind chimes in the background. I like listening to the wind on the trees. I like listening to whoever's speaking to me, or the rumble of the engine in the car I'm in, or the sound of the tires against the ground. I love listening to the leaves before my feet as I step on them, and the ocean crashing on the shore. It's a kind of music that could never be replicated, you know? Danielle, you're also wondering, where in Canada? I live on the west coast. And I'm grateful for your presence here. Bacon the bird. That's a funny name. Mr. Mate, you're wondering, is the Bhagavad Gita believed to coincide with all creation? You struggle accepting this. It is a book that has many layers to it, indeed. People can spend their whole lives studying it, and the deeper you go into the Bhagavad Gita, more and more layers begin peeled. At first, it's a commentary on a conflict that existed 5,160 years ago. But it begins to peel away and point to a different kind of conflict that exists, not in time or space, but here and now. That these Sanskrit words have so many mystical connotations to them. There is a battlefield called Kurukshetra in it. But Kshetra is also used to refer to the body. It literally means field of the Kurus, Kurukshetra. But there's a whole chapter in the Bhagavad Gita that refers to Kshetra as the field, and the Kshetragna as the knower of the field, the conscious witness. Understanding it in this way can help it appear more universal. I hear an ice cream car driving around. I don't know if you can hear that too. Danielle, you're wondering, do I ever meet a gurus in person or live to a chat? I have yet to meet any guru in person. No. And you want a snow cone? Okay, I'll make sure. I'll have to run over. I think it's already passed, but if I run now, maybe I could catch up. But if I can't get you sweetness and coolness in the form of a snow cone, I hope that you may find sweetness and coolness in other ways. May my words be conducive to a kind of sweet, and may they cool your nervous system. Auntie, you share that you lived an hour and a half away from the ocean and never got to see it, but it's on your bucket list. What? Never got to see the ocean? What kind of sin is this? You've been lacking on Mother Ocean. She is the womb of life. All life has arisen from her. And yet you don't ever say, you don't ever come to say hi. Oh, your mother is going to be very, very happy to see you when you finally do come. Daniel, you asked, do I play soccer? I had played soccer when I was just a wee boy. In school, I played a little bit. And thank you, Sue, for your ice cream cone. There, you've provided one for us. Thank you. Radhe. Thank you for finding something pretty within me, Ruby and Amy. I am sure that the prettiness you see in me is but a reflection of that which you see in you. Danielle, you share that I seem to enjoy doing biking. Do I? I'm curious, what led you to that? I like hiking. Hiking is fun. I haven't had a bike for many years now, though. It got stolen. Actually, a buddy of mine crashed it, and then it got stolen. It had a hard life as that bike. He returned it to me, and the wheel was like wobbly. I've never seen a wheel so looking like a squiggle. This isn't a circle anymore. This is a squiggle. How did you crash? Candice, you share, you love my words, so healing. Well, I hope to affirm all of you wherever you are. I want you to know that no matter what things are going through your mind, body, and emotions, no matter what kind of life you've lived thus far, you are still deserving of a kind of peace, happiness, bliss that makes up for all of that. And it's ever available to you. You are never not worthy of bliss. Truco fashion, you share that I look like I might enjoy chess too. Now that is something I can definitely affirm to you. I do like chess. Thank you, gorgeous, for finding beauty in me from the inside out. You are very kind, and I am humbled by your words. But I always want to remind you that what you see in me is such a bountiful expression of what you see in yourself. And there is so much beauty within yourself. As Sky Guardian recommended, I'm happy you're here. Why don't we read from another section of a spiritual text called the Vachanamrut. It's a set of discourses from the last 10 years of the life of a being in India known as Bhagwan Swaminarayan. It's a relatively recent spiritual tradition. Although I'm not affiliated with it, and certainly not in any official sense, I think there are some universal truths here that we all can relate in. But sometimes the word choices are very direct, and there is a kind of roughness that might arise, but I'll try my best to affirm to you that this is a perspective that might not be meant for everyone, including myself, and it's all done with love. Here we are reading a passage called Gadhada 158. The body, bad company, and past samskaras. One becomes like one perceives the great. Samskaras refer to past life impressions. At the time of the evening, arti, a ritual fire worship that's done in front of deities, on Phagun Sudhi the 5th, Samvat 1876, also known as the 18th of February, 1820, Shriji Maharaj was sitting in the residential hall of the Paramahansas, great saints, in Dada Kachar's Darbar in Gadhada. He was dressed entirely in white clothes. At that time, an assembly of munis, as well as devotees from various places, had gathered before him. Now surely you can hear the ice cream truck behind me. That's awesome. I hope there are kids who are getting lots and lots of love from the candy man today. Shriji Maharaj then said, "Please ask a question." Thereupon, Muktanand Swami asked, "Maharaj, when a devotee of God engages in worship and remembrance of God, they are disturbed by the forces of Rajogun and Tamogun in their heart. These are qualities of passion and ignorance." Yeah, I gotta run to get the ice cream truck. Fortunately, all of you are such a resplendent source of sweetness. I don't need to go anywhere else. As a result of this Rajogun and Tamogun influence, they are unable to experience the bliss of voluntary worship and remembrance. So how can the force of those gunas, those qualities, be overcome? Shriji Maharaj explained, the influence of the gunas, the qualities, is due to 3 factors: the body, bad company, and past samskaras, impressions remaining from past lives. Of these, the gunas, the qualities that arise due to the body, are overcome by reflecting on the higher self, the Atma, which is detached from the body, and the non-Atma, what is not the true self. Gunas that have arisen due to bad company, these are people who are not influencing us in the best ways in life, we shall say, or eradicated by keeping the company of a sadhu, a saintly person, a holy person, a monk, someone who is working towards their own spiritual liberation, and thus will assist you in yours. Should these 2 methods fail to eradicate the force of Rajogun and Tamogun, the qualities of passion and ignorance, then the problem lies in the influence of some unfavorable samskaras, impressions of the past. These are very difficult to eradicate. Like if you consider how many lives have we lived, not just as humans, but even as other creatures, animals. We spent so much energy searching for happiness in food, in a mate, in shelter. Naturally, these impressions remain with us today, and thus we have a lot to work through when it comes to finding happiness in other things beyond these necessities of life and procreation. Anandanand Swami, I like that name. It means the bliss of bliss. Anandanand. Anandanand Swami then asked, how can such unfavorable samskaras, impressions of the past, be eradicated? Shriji Maharaj answered, if the extremely great Purush, this is the cosmic person, becomes pleased upon a person, then regardless of how unfavorable the person's samskaras may be, they are all destroyed. Moreover, if the great Purush is pleased, a beggar can become a king, regardless of how unfavorable a person's prarabdha may be. It becomes favorable. And regardless of how disastrous of misfortune they are to face, it is avoided. I think we discussed this word before. Prarabdha. It's a difficult word to say, I must admit. It means fate, basically. It is, these are karmas of the past that are currently unfolding, destined to unfold. Anandanand Swami, the bliss of bliss, asked further, how can a person please such a great Purush, cosmic person? I'm sorry to hear that, Talin. We can certainly talk about that in a moment. Shriji Maharaj explained, first of all, they must be honest with that great son, a saint. They should have a spiritual teacher that they feel allowed to talk about their mistakes to, without judgment, basically. They must also forsake lust, anger, avarice, infatuation, matsar, I'm not sure what that one translates to. Egotism, jealousy, arrogance, and all desires and cravings. Mataji, what is matsar? M-A-T-S-A-R. Is it a Sanskrit word or Gujarati word? I'm sure she knows.
Matsar, darling. It's Sanskrit. Matsar means jealousy or envy. It's an obstacle on the path to moksha, liberation. Better cultivate karuna, compassion.
Awesome. Thank you, Mataji. Moreover, they should behave as a servant of the Sant and maintain a constant effort to eradicate egotism from their heart. While doing so internally, they should physically continue to bow to everyone as well, bowing to the divinity within every being. As a result, the great Sant will become pleased with them. Thereafter, Mahanubhavanand Swami asked, Maharaj, while staying in the satsang fellowship, that is, keeping good company, how can one eradicate all of one's faults? Also, how can one's bhakti, loving devotion towards God, source energy, continue to flourish day by day? And Ruby, you're wondering, can I read the last passage, please? The one with the word I didn't know. Absolutely. They must also forsake lust, anger, avarice, infatuation, matsar, which is jealousy or envy, egotism. I guess we also have another word for jealousy, so it's probably envy, arrogance, and all the desires and cravings. Basically, a kind of selfish love we have for ourselves, which isn't being reciprocated to everyone else. But yes, Mahanubhavanand Swami asked how we can eradicate all of one's fault while being in true company and flourish in their loving devotion. Sriji Maharaj replied, the more one continues to imbibe the virtues of the great Purush, cosmic person, the more one's bhakti, loving devotion, begins to flourish. In fact, if one realizes the truly great Purush to be absolutely lust-free, then even if one is as lustful as an animal, one will also become lust-free. Conversely, if one perceives the fault of lust in the great Purush, the cosmic person, then no matter how lust-free one may be, one becomes full of intense lust. So this is an idea that the universe, whatever we find in the universe, we also cultivate within ourselves. In the same manner, if one views the great Purush, the cosmic person, to be full of anger or avarice, then one becomes full of anger and avarice. Therefore, if one understands the great Purush to be absolutely free of lust, avarice, taste, egotism, and attachment, one will also become free of all those evil natures and become a staunch devotee. What are the characteristics of such a staunch devotee? It's a fun word, staunch. Well, just as they have an instinctive dislike for objects that cause misery, similarly they have an instinctive dislike for the alluring vishayas, experiences of the senses, of sight, sound, smells, tastes and touch, etc. Moreover, they have firm faith in that source alone. Such a person should be known as a staunch devotee. The only means of becoming such a staunch devotee is by behaving as a servant of the servants of the universe, of that source. And by realizing all of these devotees are great. We're all in this together. And that I am inferior compared to them all. This is different from an inferiority complex. It's not that we see everyone as an authority figure. It's that we see that there's something to learn from everybody else. In that way, there's a part of us that continue to grow in the presence of everyone. So it's a kind of practical outlook. Realizing this, they behave as a servant of the devotees of divinity. All of the evil natures of a person who behave in this manner are destroyed, and day by day noble virtues such as jnana, knowledge, vairagya, dispassion, bhakti, loving devotion, etc. continue to flourish within them. Okay, that's the end of this passage. So thank you for listening with me as we read from Gadadha. Hold on, which one was it? Gadadha 158. The body, bad company, and past samskaras. One becomes like one perceives the great. That's right, Greg R.G. I'm glad you remembered. You have a very good memory. I can definitely learn more from you in that regard. And heaven-bound, thank you for your heartbeat. And thank you, Nelly, for your heartbeat too. Radhe Radhe. Staunch is such a fun word. I agree, Ruby. Taylor, you share that you think of a horse when you hear it. Maybe it's like ranch. Horse ranch. I think of ranch like the dressing when I think of it. And yes, a servant to oneself, as all is self. The dastu. Yeah, those behaviors that constrict the ego. Exactly. G to infinity. This Swami is Anandan. A-N-A-N-D-A-N-A-N-D-A. I don't know the melody to that, but I like it. Thank you, Vaz, for your subscription. It is always a funny thing to be subscribed to a live stream, but I'm happy to know that you intend on connecting with me here, and I look forward to that possibility. Taylor, you share that horse ranch sounds like it'd have dressing. Well, I mean hair in it, you said. Ugh. Oh, I don't want to think about that. Toxic love. I am outside. Got some lovely flowers around me I can show you. My mother does a good job taking care of so many interesting different varieties of plants. They are all blossoming, and there's the Buddha surrounded by a cat and a bunny representing two pets that we had that died. And there is my, I don't know if you can see, but there's a cat shadow right there. Well, given that he's kind of a shadow, he blends into the shadow. But he was staring at me. I think he wants to come outside. I shall let him outside if he returns, but he's given up meowing. Hello, Eriku. It's yam time. And Ruby, you're wondering, how old am I? If you don't mind you asking. If I don't mind you asking, I don't mind at all. I'm an open book. I believe in honesty and transparency. In this body, I've been around the sun 22 times successfully so far. Dansuela, you share. You were thinking to the tune of Hollaback Girl by Gwen Stefani. It's an old song by now. I am sure it was very funny. I'm sure it is very funny. Put in that tune. Alas, I am musically illiterate. one of my my great challenges in this life, learning how to connect with people in other ways besides music. Living in nature is a blessing. Yeah. One of my favorite things about the city that I live is that there is no competition with the wildlife here. You know, it's like we're not knocking down every tree to build a building. We keep as much of the nature as possible. That's why I almost feel like I am always in nature, even if I'm walking down the main street. Because there's always some big tree around, some bushes, some grass, as many parks as possible. It ain't no concrete jungle. The city is integrated a little bit with the nature. And hello, hummingbird. This hummingbird is so smart. She always comes and yells at me whenever her feeder is empty. She's like, I know you're the one that fills this. I know you know how to fill this. I am but a humble hummingbird, a humble bird. I cannot fill this myself. Please, would you mind? This shit is bananas. Bananas is the chorus you share. That sounds fun. I don't think I know it. Danielle, you're wondering, do I play piano? I once bought a piano and tried to learn how to play it. But alas, I'm not as musically gifted as my father is, who is a musician. I think my parents tried very hard to express support whenever I showed interest in a musical instrument. I think I tried to learn many instruments in my life, a violin, a clarinet, a piano, even the drums when I was much younger, and of course guitar and bass, but I don't know, it's just not something I ever picked up. And Shakira, you're wondering, what am I doing for Father's Day? I don't know yet. I texted my father before I went live if he was free to do something tomorrow. I'll have to see when he gets back to me, but I would definitely like to do something, at least. Ice cream flute to you, Nix. That's cool. The flute was Krishna's favorite instrument. He was always playing the flute. And I respect it because SpongeBob played his nose like a flute. Danielle, you're wondering, do I have in my home a fish tank? You know, you're very unique in your questions that you ask me. I don't think anyone's ever asked me this before. I do not have a fish tank in my house. And if you have to ask, you will never know. You share that you thought the flute as well. It's a very sweet and melodious instrument. Oh, you don't have to apologize, Daniel. I think it's very endearing. And Ruby, you share, when you have your own house, it must be surrounded by trees. Not a want, a must. I love that. And I wish that for you as well. You like my hat, Lena Bean? Well, that's my mother's. It's very useful. Getting the sun out of my eyes, and I realize the sun's no longer in my eyes. Thank you for reminding me. Because I don't need to have it at the moment. And I like that goblin brain. Those of us who are not blessed with musical talent have the Awen in other ways. The Awen. The Awen. I don't know what this word means, or if there was another word this was meant to be. But I like the awe when. When will there be awe? That sense of wonder and reverence. We are looking for that time elsewhere. And peace be with you, Nix. Thank you for being here. Awen is the force of creativity. I've never heard of that word. That's wonderful. I love it. Yes, we definitely do have that in other ways. And thank you, Benjamin Christensen, for your heartmeat. Hari Om Tat Sat. And Haley, you share hopefully we will find awe frequently. I agree. Paragon, you ask, how do you join my movement? My movement? What is my movement? My movement is dance. Begin dancing, my dear. Dance like there is no other time, no other place in the universe, but here, but now. Let that soul be free. Express yourself in all the ways in which it has been desiring to do so from the start of time. Goblin brain you shared comes from Celtic paganism. That's very cool. I love that. And good night, Crossfires. May you have a beautiful sleep. Haley, you ask, do I dance? I try to make little movements a dance, but I can't say that I dance in any traditional sense. But when I open a cabinet in my kitchen, I try to make even the smallest movements a dance. Let us dance through life. Let us have a kind of flow and grace within everything we do. Even if it's picking up a fork off the ground. Even if it's getting into a car, even if it's walking down the street, let there be a spring in your step, kind of bounce, vibrancy in everything we do. And thank you, Jason, for your finger heart. Here's one for you too. Hari Om Tat Sat. Kendra, you're wondering, do I have a job? My job is to bring love and life to everything that comes my way. If in return I get anything, that's a blessing and not an expectancy. Yes, dance through life. I'm happy you can see the beauty in that, Haley. Paul says, so that's a no, LOL. No is not one of the words in my vocabulary, nor is yes. Because yes and no, it limits life to a single bit. A 1 or a 0, on or off, approval or rejection. There is nothing in life that I have but one bit for. Happy Saturday, Michael. Paragon. You are wondering, how do I feel about Osho? Of all the words I have heard spoken from Osho publicly, there is not one set of words that I don't find some truth in. But there are many people who claim to have suffered in his movement, especially in the town, the locale called Rajneeshpuram, when he was still called Rajneesh. And if there was suffering that arose under his care, his guidance, then I believe that we should attend to that suffering and not brush it under the rug, let it come to the surface. But I still value the words of wisdom that I have heard from him. And specifically about his teachings, there are no complaints in my mind. Thank you, Michael, for your heart, me and Rose. Radhe Radhe and Ragnhildor. Thank you for your trio of roses. Hare Krishna. Greetings, Isabella. And Alf, you might get his name wrong, but do I like J.D. Krishnamurti? You got it perfect. I have also heard great words of wisdom from J.D. Krishnamurti. There were a couple of Krishnamurtis, both of whom had a very interesting approach to spirituality, which was to cut out all the mysticism from it and ground it in practicality. And I think that's an important perspective that they brought to this world. I like that, Haley. Not yes, not no, just being, finding the awe, bliss, and simply the being of it all. That's peace. Paragon, you are wondering, who was my guide or mentor? I think my mom has taught me many things. My father too, my sister, all my friends and family. Every person who has come into my life have given me beautiful expressions that I may not have had access to without their precious experience. There have been some that I have called my mentor, and there have been some which I regret calling my mentor. But right now, my greatest teacher is the present moment. Everything I have ever learned has come from it. And the highest teachings that have been afforded to me did not come from anyone else. They came from my own urge to be free of suffering, to bask in the glory of the universe and experience bliss, so that I may share that with others who are going through similar things as I am. And Ryan, you are wondering, do I think I'm out of samsara after this incarnation? Samsara never ends, my friend. That is why it is called an eternal cycle of births and deaths. But one can still enter nirvana without leaving samsara. All it takes is a kind of alchemy that transforms this moment. If you find a meaning to your suffering, then you can endure it forever. There is a bliss, not in leaving this world, but in fully becoming an immortal part of it. And so cute. I have to show you Sandy, who's in my friend's arms. Sandy the cat. He looks so happy. I can almost hear him purring from here. Hello, he's waving his hands. Thank you, Isabella, for your finger heart. Here's one for you too. And Cat Lady, speaking of cats, thank you for your trio of roses. and pair of finger hearts. Where have my ding-dings gone? I wish to give you some dings. I found them. And Mars, thank you for your 5 roses. And another one. Hari Om Tat Sat. Oh, Sandy is so full of love. He's just smiling. Just big grin on his face. It's so lovely. And meh, it's Pidge. Thank you for your heart, me. Jai Sitaram. Paragan, you share that I seem knowledgeable. Who is the wisest person I've ever experienced? Past, present? I think in my life, I would say my mother. Or my cat Shadow. Lots of wisdom in him. Now, there were some questions that came before this, but I'd love to attend to Demi, who shares that you are at the lowest ever, and you are glad you saw me here now. You feel like you can breathe here. I'm so happy to provide this space for you. And please breathe, my dear. Breath is the highest nutrient that life can offer. The way we are with our breath is the way we are with the universe. If we can have patience with our breath, find its depth, and go with it slowly at our natural resting pace, then this whole universe will follow just the same. Mars, you ask, do I think that mind-altering substances hurt or help the spiritual journey? Nothing can hurt the spiritual journey because nothing can hurt the spirit. There is no lost progress, no regress. There is only up. We get this idea of growing and then falling in the world. In the world, you definitely take 2 steps forward after taking 1 step back. But in the spiritual world, there's only 1 step at a time in each moment. Everything in this present moment is here to help you in your spiritual journey. The universe never punishes on the spiritual path. It only provides lessons and blessings. Whether for you a psychedelic experience or any mind-altering substance is a blessing or a lesson is up to you and how you interact with it. All of our bodies and minds are different. Indeed. Are they necessary for spiritual awakening? No. And are they sufficient for spiritual awakening? No. Neither necessary nor sufficient. They are just a unique experience that you may have. And like all unique experiences, they add to the richness of life and can never take away from it. As long as you are committed to learning and growing, then there is no harm. I'm happy you all love to see Sandy, though. I love Sandy very much. Good morning, Maya. And I love that thought, Danielle. May her peace flow after this live, and may love of simplicity bring her to the highest abundance. What a great affirmation that is. Many paths to new beginnings. That's a wonderful way of putting it, Fernando. Neutrality. Back to zero. I like that. Everybody loves Raven. we all start counting at 0. Therefore, the source of the universe must be 0. 0 seems to have no value, yet without it, no other numbers would have any value themselves. The valueless is what creates value for others. The emptiness of that source is what allows for openness in our life. What allows for present is that very absence. Returning to absence, to nothingness, to silence, to stillness, to 0, you merge with source, because source is all of those. Zilpal, you ask, how am I aging backwards? It must come from my mother. My mother, she seems to get younger every day. I don't get it. It's like all her gray hairs went away. All of her wrinkles in her face went away. She has a spring in her step. This seemed to happen after she made some hard decisions, cutting some people out of her life and setting boundaries that I guess were draining her of her energy. And I've done a similar thing in my life. The vitality is a person's sexual energy. If you can hold on to your sexual energy, you just might live forever. There have been stories of yogis who are able to hold on to all of their energy and never release it. And they stayed in the Himalayas for thousands of years. Sometimes they would change bodies, just like we do, but they did it consciously. According to the astrological perspective, the least common multiple of all of the cycles in our solar system that affect us is 120. For thousands of years, the astrologers have been saying, if you live by astrological injunctions, your life should be 120 years. But in the last 5,000 years, the average lifespan has been decreasing. There have been periods where it increased for a while, then decreased, but it is said that before 5,000 years ago, we all lived to be 120, thereabouts. Some longer, some not as long. But still today, if you're lucky, you will find someone who has lived to, or prophesized, or destined allotment of life, 120 years. Magical thing happened around Himalayas. There has been no greater gift to the world than the spiritual wisdom that flows out of those ancient caves. Beings who have meditated there for generations at a time, dispelling spiritual wisdom from whoever crosses their path. And from those great beings that just so happen to have crossed their paths, all the world's religions have been founded by those anonymous yogis who meditate on the light. It is said that all the world leaders in the world, they are destined to be there, because upon an election day, a yogi just picks up one rock in their cave and moves it to the right. Whether they move it this many millimeters that way or the other way decides all the great fates that humanity has to experience. So many great feats. So many great conflicts, all decided by yogis in the Himalayas. But I don't wish to get to woo-woo. This is pretty wishy-washy stuff. Where is my friend Woo-woo? Sometimes they partake here. And thank you, Mars, for your trio of finger hearts. Here's a trio of finger hearts to you too. And everybody loves Raven. Thank you for your rose. Good night, Michelle. Me. I love that sound effect. Kara, you were wondering, when did I encompass spirituality? Spirituality encompasses me. I had no part in it. I think I've always been on this path in some way or another. Sometimes I trek into the unknown and then the universe humbles me and I fall back onto the path, but it's always there. Always there. Tracy, you share that you have medical negligence pain. Your cat, the only thing keeps you going. I love how much joy your cat brings you. That's wonderful. And good night to you too, Tracy. No levitation stories then, asks Madam Nugget. Levitation is only where the siddhis, the spiritual powers, begin. When you have the ability to commune with cosmic beings, then what point is there to become a few inches off the physical ground when you are so many light years above the spiritual world? I like that word, Piet. Nulliverse. Not universe, not multiverse. Nulliverse. That's beautiful. Nice to see you, Matt Ellis. Universe humbles you too, Kara. Yes, it's very good at that. As soon as we have just a little bit of pride, the universe goes, no, my child. This is not for you. Jen D, you ask, how to always be positive. What are practical tips I can advise to always stay positive? See, when we are experiencing a low, our mood is like a spring. If we stop resisting, applying pressure to the spring, it returns back to equilibrium. But if we pull on one way and let go, then quickly it'll bounce to the other side. This is what small pleasures do, is that we have little moments of joy, but we force them by pulling up on the spring. But as soon as we can't hold on anymore, it drops the other way. But what I mean to say is that we spend so much energy forcing little moments of joy, like through trying to find good things to watch, pleasurable things to watch, pleasurable things to hear, pleasurable things to smell, pleasurable things to touch, pleasurable things to taste. I mean, think about it. Almost all of our day's energy is spent on trying to find a good video to watch while you're eating, trying to find a good place to eat, a good spot, trying to find the right music for this moment, trying to find the right perfume or incense or scented candle, trying to find the right physical affection. These are all experience of the senses. We spend so much energy trying to please the senses, but never the soul. And the soul is not pleased by any of the senses. The way karma works, the way cause and effect works, is that if you try to enforce something nice to watch, the universe will send you something scary to watch afterwards. If you try to force something good to listen to, the universe will give you something bad to listen to afterwards. Someone's going to come with a terrible story, or they're going to insult you, or you're going to see something traumatic, or you're going to walk past something really smelly after you smell something good, or you're going to taste something that isn't tasty, or you're going to get hurt physically. I don't mean to scare you all, but I mean to point out that as we push our senses towards pleasure, they rebound into pain. This is the spring. If one wants to be positive, be content, and be in peace, then you have to stop trying to influence the spring at all, which means that we become the same, regardless of what comes to our eyes, to our ears, to our nose, to our tongue, to our skin, that we are happy with whatever the universe brings to us. We're not trying to change it in any way. There is total surrender to whatever experience of the senses come our way. Then we may begin to involute our senses, to inverse them. As G to infinity, you share. Wait, doesn't the sense of love feed the soul? Indeed. But for love to flow, it's not an accumulation of sensual experience. It's an expression of sensual experience. I give you another metaphor. Sometimes when we reach the end of the metaphor, we have to reintroduce another one to finish the job. Consider an electricity circuit. If it's DC, direct current, then the electricity must flow in one way. Otherwise, you'll fry the circuitry. I give you the example of an LED, a light-emitting diode. A diode means that it allows electricity to flow one way, but not another. Now, if you have a high enough voltage, then maybe you might get that light to light up, but probably because it's being burnt. Probably because it's on fire now. So you go, oh, the LED is emitting light. But only because you lit the damn thing on fire by putting too much current the wrong way. Then you have to go and replace it or repair it. You might laugh, but we do it all the time. The light of the soul, it turns on when energy is flowing through our senses towards the world. But right now we're trying to get a powerful enough voltage to direct it inwards. We're trying to get something in the world and bring it in. That there's something out there that I need inside. And like a burning LED, it might flicker on for a moment before it catches in flames. Just like an extremely pleasurable experience of the senses might momentarily give rise to something we can label as happiness. But we are confusing the fire for the pure light, which happens when we are giving our energy rather than trying to take energy. See, our soul is already infinite. It has no room for anything from the world. But the world has infinite room for our love. And when we bring our love outwards, when we share it, then we can be constantly engaged in this completed circuit, and the light of the soul may go off, and thus we become infinitely content. I hope that makes sense. And thank you, Jen D, for your finger heart a minute ago. And thank you, Corey W, for your heart me. Radhe, Radhe. And Jamil, thank you for your rose. Hari Om Tat Sat. And thank you, Everybody Loves Raven, for your rose. And thank you, John Simon, for your heart me. And thank you, Matt to Monk 108 for your quintet of roses. Metta Monk, you ask a great question. How do we send out love into the world without getting taken advantage of? Hard question, hard answer. There will be times that our love gets taken advantage of. And that's no mistake on our part. We cannot possibly predict the outcome 100% of the time. But what we can do is learn from those experiences. See, what we want is our love to propagate. It's not that we give our love here for nothing to happen with it. We give our love to a place that then gives that love to another place, and then it expands all over the universe. If you find that one place you give your love, nothing seems to happen with it. It seems to only fill an endless void, maybe an insecurity of someone, then that's not our place to give love. Our love is better given to a place that will, not reciprocate it, that's not the word, but share it with others so that it may grow and go a long way. Like a mother. A mother may love their child, not so they hold on to it, but so that they grow up and have the love to give to others as well. We love a plant so that it may grow. But no matter how much love you give a dead plant, it's not going to grow. So we do have to be mindful of the places of love that will be more receptive of it, because we can't force love to a place that doesn't utilize it. Hello, Marlin. I love that, Gobs. Love is complicated to explain in a TikTok comment, too complicated. But knowing what love is helps, definitely. In Jendi, you ask, could I please explain how we can truly satisfy the soul? By loving. Our soul is satisfied, not by how much it gets, by how much it gives. Your soul is infinite, which means the resource of infinity is inside you. So many people wonder, why does the world have problems if the source is infinite? If that source, if that God within you is almighty, all-loving, and all-knowing, why doesn't he do something about it? Because you are that representative of the source, here to spread that love. You are here not because you have anything to gain from the world, but because the universe has so much to gain from you. There are problems around you, not because you've done anything wrong, but because you are part of the toolkit of the universe in order to give, repair, heal, grow. You are perfect in your being, and the world is not. You feel your perfection by perfecting, by accepting and showing unconditional acceptance to everything, being a listener, lending a helping hand. Be a representative of love. You will be content always. Love is painful, you know that much, says Stephen. And such a beautiful pain it is. Thank you, Jendi, for your applause. And July Moonchild, thank you for your heart me. Hari Om Tat Sat. And Ash, thank you for your heart me too. Sky Guardian, you ask, can we start landing now? You definitely want to be here for the meditation, and it's longer today. Yes, definitely. I'd love to include you on this meditation that you've shared with us. There's some doggos expressing themselves. And thank you, Jendi, for your disco love and your ice cream. Quintet of ice cream, in fact. Hari Om Tat Sat. Yeah, our meditation is long tonight, and no one is expected to stay for the duration. But I thought that we'd do something really deep today, something powerful that's going to make a lasting change in each and every one of our lives. This is a powerful meditation, a bit of a guided one. There'll be some chanting, and it's about trauma. And I'll give a more full explanation after we do a few segments. First of all, I'd like to ask you all a question. I'm wondering from all of you, how do you find meaning in any moment? This I'd like to know. If you can find meaning in any moment, you are truly successful in life. No? Because all we have to do is find meaning in this moment. And no matter how many forms this moment takes, if we are guaranteed to find meaning, then our whole life will be meaningful. Kara, you share. Open the heart center. Indeed. Hello, Sandy, my love. Beautiful boy. While you think of some answers for the question of the day, I'm going to bring out my lovely cat, Sandy, since he's looking at me like he wants to come outside. I'll be right back. I didn't know I turned my microphone off. Yeah, happy Shadow, his brother. I love you. Okay. Cats are safe in their catio. So you've done some thinking to the question of the day. And you share by not missing a single thing that passes through you. I love that. Is it safe for Sandy to be outside? Asks Cat Lady. Indeed, I've built a catio for him. Maybe I can show you all one day. It's this big 6 feet by 10 feet little enclosure for them that's nice and fun. I made a little mansion for them. That was a fun project. Finding meaning in every moment, John Simon, you share it's an art you have yet to master. It is an art. Definitely, I agree. Gobs, you share there is always a lesson in any moment. You always look for what it is. Gina, you share by forgiveness and unconditional love. Matt to Monk, you share that you look for the lessons as to why it's happening. An answer to a question comes by being in gratitude for all, says Don Suela. Gobs, you add that whether you are the teacher or the student, there is always a lesson. That's wonderful. And Ruby, you share perhaps by feeling your feelings in that moment, whether it be happiness or sorrow. G to Infinity, you share that we are given the choice to create meaning in every moment. That is the fun. I love that. Mel, you share that to find meaning, one must be actively open to find it. Definitely. By absorbing all the details, says Isabella. I'm happy you find beauty in my cats. Sue, he looks like one of your cats. That's awesome. Fire, prayer, shooting star. Excelxi. You share that you always try to see what this moment is adding up to, especially when it seems irrelevant. I love that. Corina, you share by appreciating the beauty that surrounds you. Beautiful. Cat Lady, you add that Sandy is so beautiful, so sweet. Yeah, I was telling him, but I didn't realize the microphone was off, that he makes every moment meaningful. And Kara, you share that moments are not good or bad. Soul is experiencing. I love that too. You're so right. And Ruby, thank you for your 15 rosas. If I tallied that up correctly a minute ago. Thank you. Radhe Radhe. Bob, thank you for your rose too. And Bryhav, thank you for your heart meme. I am a cat person. Of course. Cats, they teach us about consent, that there is a time and a place to show them love, and they can get overstimulated, and that they have their own independence to them, which I think is a powerful lesson for a human being, honestly. And Marlon, you share by forgiving and letting go of the hurt and suffering you've been throughout life. Yeah, you're right. And Sue, you share by quieting the mind and becoming the witness of the present moment, seeing the spiritual. Having fun, you share that being around other elevated souls, having that satsang through company. It's very true. Jade, you share, try to soak it all in. It passes so fast. It's always a good reminder. And thank you, Sandy, for your rose. Oh, you are blessed. I am blessed to have you here. I was talking about you earlier. It's true, at the beginning of this live, I mentioned that we have a guest here named Sandy that comes sometimes. Same name as my cat, Sandy. If you scroll back in the recording, you can find that. And Bobby Sue, thank you for your heart me, your team bracelet, and your cheer you up. Radhe Radhe. Yes, I am at home indeed. Nature suits all of us, I think. And thank you, Stanchevici. I am not sure if I'm pronouncing your lovely name correctly, but you can tell me otherwise. And namaskar, Viri. And Salahada, you love the background music. Let's see, what has been playing? This song is called Root.mp3. Yes, that's not the original title. That is because it was for root chakra music that I found for royalty free. No copyright on SoundCloud. Alright, thank you everyone for exploring this question of the day. I think it is such an important question because if we can really have an answer to this question and keep that in mind, then we become the master of every moment. And I know there are many other ways in which we can come to meaning in this moment, and I'm sorry if I didn't have a moment to read yours out loud. I'm trying to make as much time for a meditation tonight since it's a long one. But before we do that, I'd also like to read from a short passage of a book. You all can stay with me if you want. This wonderful book is called In Love at Ease, Everyday Spirituality with Pramukh Swami Maharaj. He was really in love and at ease with the world. I think we can all learn from that in each moment. Let me see, where did we stop reading? Here we are. Beyond the desire for material objects lies one for appreciation and acknowledgement of one's seat and station in society. Swamishri regarded dimly lit corners and center stage cameras as all the same. During the grand bicentennial celebrations for Bhagwan Swaminarayan in 1981 in Ahmedabad, BAPS organized a conference to bring together hundreds of sadhus and mahants, monks and great beings from across the nation. Religious leaders and spiritual masters from Bengal, Karnataka, Uttarakhand, and Uttar Pradesh gathered to celebrate the unity in the diversity of the Hindu faith, which Swamishri was a part of. Swamishri prepared a felicitation and welcome for these great sadhus. Prior to the start of the main Sabha assembly, all the invited sadhus and religious leaders secured a prominent place on the stage in front of the cameras and microphones. Swamishri arrived and sat in a corner behind a pillar, blocking any view of him from the front of the stage. As the program was about to begin, the president of the Bharat Sadhu Samaj, the Indian Association of Ascetics, Swami Harinarayananandaji, called out for Swamishri. "Where is Pramukh Swami? He is the host, and we are waiting for him to start the evening program." A few of the sadhus pointed to Swamishri seated in a corner of the side of the stage, covered by a pillar in the hall. The president of the association nearly shrieked in Hindi, "Back there! Swamishri is the host and organizer. He is also a role model for the rest of us." He walked to the corner, raised Swamishri to his feet, and seated him on the central seat on the stage. Swamishri obliged, but he was as content in that corner as he was in the front seat. It was this equipoise, of Swamishri that held that led Swami Hari Narayanand Ji to say, Pramukh Swami Maharaj is not just the leader of the Swaminarayan community. Swaminarayan is the central figure of their faith, but the leader of the entire community of ascetics in India. His persona exudes detachment and indifference to the world. I have observed him from up close. He does not pretend, perform, or expect praise. He is truly, humanly divine. To be eyeless is to share one's seat, even if it is a sign of power and authority. I have noticed that many religious leaders are attached to their asanas, their seats. In traditional Hindu monasteries, a guru's asana is a sign of their authority and a symbol of their lineage. Unsurprisingly, religious leaders safeguard their asana and its decorum. Swamishri, on the other hand, was completely detached from his seat and the power it symbolized. He often sat on a side sofa after offering his seat to another religious leader or a visiting monk who may have found their asana to be below their expectations. Though gurus are often cautious about allowing disciples to sit on their seat, Swamishri was indifferent about where he sat or who sat on his seat. Narendra Prasad Das Swami and the Dr. Swami entered Swamishri's room in Gadhada after a meeting pertaining to one of the community's humanitarian initiatives. For a meeting. As soon as the two senior sadhus walked into the room, there was a power outage. The room was pitch dark. Swamishri stood up, grabbed their hands, and guided them to sit them down. He then took a seat across from them. Swamishri had a habit of chanting God's name whenever there was a power outage. He chanted the Swaminarayan mantra for a few minutes and asked the sadhus to carry on with the service-related conversation in the dark. 30 minutes into the conversation, power returned, and the sadhus saw the unfathomable. Their guru had seated both of them on his asana, while he was sitting on the floor in front of them. They nearly jumped up and asked Swamishri why he had done so. It is all the same. I did not know where the other blankets or asanas were in the dark. I did not want you to sit on the floor, so I just had you sit on my seat. It is fine. Let's carry on with the conversation. A refined understanding of the self allows one to be so detached from that which is theirs. It isn't so much that Swamishri sat on the floor or that he carried on with the meeting in the dark, but that Swamishri could so easily give up his asana, his seat. That initial thought to give to others and to share with others which was rightfully his is one of the most subtle and intentional articulations of being eyeless. Sometimes giving up one's seat means giving up the spotlight. To be eyeless is to be cozy in a corner so that the spotlight may warm others. Without a desire to be validated by others, one does not need the spotlight to feel motivated. There are several incidents in which Swamishri found a seat in the back of the hall or car without any consequence to his sense of self. Once, while having his meal in Ahmedabad, a young sadhu reminded Swamishri of a fellow sadhu who always found a way to sit in the front seat of a car when they were on a Padramani tour in the United Kingdom, where they go around visiting devotees in their households. One of the young sadhus joked, "Swamishri, be careful. He will jump into your seat too if you take too long." Oh, sorry. That's not what he said. "Swamishri, be careful. He will jump into your seat too if you take him along." I guess it makes sense both ways. The other sadhus in the room erupted into laughter. Swamishri inquired in a serious tone, "What is wrong with that? Let him sit in the front. There are no reserved seats with us." The sadhu pressed further. Then where would you sit? Swamishri responded with ease. Anywhere there is a free seat. In the front, in the back. I have even traveled hanging outside of an open jeep once. The expectation to sit in the front, to have a fixed seat, is what causes harm. You get used to sitting in the front seat, and the day you do not get to sit there, you sulk. Never get used to a seat or a position. Nothing is permanent. And why does it matter if we sit in the front or back? It is an easy adjustment as long as your ego does not get in the way. Do not measure your worth and satisfaction based on where people ask you to sit. It only leads to bad things. Swamishri maintained this mindset with such ease that there was no hesitation in his observation of it. In 1982, Dadubhai Patel came to pick up Swamishri from Heathrow Airport in London in a black Rolls-Royce. Swamishri did not notice the make or model of the car. There was one small hiccup, though. There were more passengers than seats in the car. 3 sadhus sat in the back seats, and Swamishri and Dadubhai sat in the front. The British guide who had come along with Dadubhai was left standing on the sidewalk. Dadubhai felt embarrassed and explained the predicament to Swamishri. Swamishri immediately slid over from his comfortable passenger seat in the front to the small space on the gearbox of the car. The British gentleman then sat in the passenger seat, and they were off to the mandir. Everyone in that car sat comfortably except the person for whom the car had come. At the start of the chapter, I highlighted how being eyeless is a focus on how one does things and not necessarily what one does. Swamishri's ride in the Rolls-Royce was different in its intent and thoughtfulness. Though it may seem that a spiritual master such as Swamishri was engaged in the same activities as those around him, the difference was in the kind of engagement itself. There was an indifference in his experience of an apparent indulgence and felicitation. So thank you for listening. We'll pause our reading of In Love, at Ease, there for now. And now we've come to the end of the Sangha. So, you are all welcome to leave, but if any of you are interested in staying, we'll be doing a meditation for the next 45 minutes. It's the longest meditation we've ever done, but it comes with precisely this warning that it is long, and you are not expected to stay for the whole thing, but it will be amazing. Sky Guardian has assured me this. It was recorded live from his guru's satsang today, and it was on healing trauma. And so it's very deep, very intricate. I think it'll be a kind of life-changing meditation for all of us who are dealing with trauma. Trauma is a very important thing in life, and coming to healing it is even more important. So there'll be chanting, there will be affirmations. The audio is a little muffled, but if you turn your volume up and I turn mine down, then you should be able to hear it nonetheless. I'll mute my microphone too. So the chanting that will be a part of it is here. It is pronounced like, let's wait till the gift from Linda appears. And thank you, Linda, for those 35 roses. Radhe Radhe. Shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapanam. Very simple. And besides all the diacritics and whatnot, here is another way of transliterating it, which might be easier for you. Shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapanam. And please come and go as you like. That's not the translation, that's just an affirmation, because I'm sure in the course of these 45 minutes, many people will come and wonder what's happening. So I've put some descriptions there, and you all can help those who are interested too. So without further ado, I'm going to minimize the background music. It seems to have stopped anyway, just on time, and Mataji is gone, so I'm going to close her as well. Bye, Mataji. But just before, I also want to thank Isabella for your tiny and your heart me. Thank you. Yippee! And Cat Lady, thank you for your quintet of roses and a rosa. Radhe. Thank you, Bob, for your rose. And Babisu, thank you for your pair of finger hearts. I thank you now that I have a moment, because I will be otherwise occupied for the next 45 minutes with all of you who want to engage in this meditation. Okay, I've downloaded the meditation and I'm going to press play now. Namaste, everyone.
The theme for today's meditation actually is suggested by a video I just published. In fact, I was really surprised by the response to this video. It was about dealing with emotional issues for those on a spiritual path.
I don't know if you hear it, but I don't hear it.
You might know that.
There we go. It was just very quiet. I'll turn it up even more for you.
The theme for today's meditation actually is suggested by a video I just published. In fact, I was really surprised by the response to this video. It was about dealing with emotional issues for those on a spiritual path. You might know that some spiritual teachers tend to downplay the need to directly address emotional problems. But according to Shankaracharya and others, it's crucial to address emotional issues because they form obstacles to the process of spiritual growth. So in that context, the video I just published last week dealt with a very curious but important topic taught by Pujya Swami Dayananda. He gave it an interesting name, combining a common English psychological term with Sanskrit. He called his technique Maha-Validation. And it's a very significant term. Most of you know what psychological validation means. Most people, especially people struggling with emotional issues, they feel a sense of, I'm not okay. There's something wrong with me. They have a negative self-judgment. And validation is what happens when you meet. So suppose they go to a psychologist or a counselor. And a counselor, this is a very interesting point. The counselor may use a variety of different therapeutic techniques, but the most therapeutic technique used by the therapist is simply, to use their language, unconditional regard. That's the language used by psychologists. Unconditional regard means that the psychologist or counselor tells you and treats you like a good person. You're not defective. You're 100% okay. This is validation. Unconditional regard is their term, but it means the message from the therapist is you are okay, you are a good person. That's called validation, and that is surprisingly therapeutic. Regardless of whatever technique that the therapist may or may not use, that unconditional regard is arguably the most important part of that therapeutic session. then if getting the validation of a psychologist is helpful, you would think, and it's true, that getting validation from close friends is even better. And it's even better because they really know you. The psychologist, especially in your first few sessions, the counselor doesn't know who you are. It takes time to build knowledge and build a relationship. But suppose you share your problems with an old friend, how do you feel? And this is so significant because your friend may not have any answers to your problems. Your friend just listens and says, like the counselor does early on. But that's therapeutic because you are receiving this unconditional regard from your friend. You're getting validation. And then suppose it's not just a friend, it's a dear one, a family member that you love very much, a family member who knows you better than anyone else. You share your problems with that family member, and that family member, no doubt, gives you a big hug. Validation. Even stronger. Now look at this sequence. From a psychologist or counselor who's a relative stranger, to a friend who's much closer to you, to a family member who's much closer to you. Suppose we take it one more step to Ishvara. You share your problems in prayer or meditation. You open up your heart, so to speak, to Ishvara in prayer and meditation. And who is most intimately connected to you? Ishvara is more connected to you than the therapist, than the friend, and even than your family member. Arguably, Ishvara is the one who is within you. None of the others are within you as your essential nature. So this is why Pujya Swamiji called it Maha-Validation, to suggest that it's even more powerful than the kind of validation you get from a counselor, a friend, or even an intimate family member. And it is amazingly healing and effective. If you want to learn a little more about it, I think there's one of my videos on the course in meditation is on this topic. Also, the most recent video I just published. You can find that on my YouTube channel. But now, let's take it a step further. Validation is healing, it's effective, but if you have particular problems, especially if you are on a path of spiritual growth and you are finding some obstacles, you're finding that you're not making the kind of progress that you would like to be making, and you need some spiritual advice, will you get spiritual advice from the therapist? No. Will you get spiritual advice from your friend? You might, but it might or might not be good advice, depending on who your friend is. Will you get spiritual advice from your family member? Probably not. But here's a very interesting perspective, and this is the perspective for today's meditation session. Suppose you choose, by the way, this process of Maha-Validation can be done with any aspect of Ishvara. Many of you will have an Ishta Devata, a chosen favorite form of God that you use for your prayer and meditation, which is wonderful. But in this discussion, it turns out that there's a special value in focusing on Shri Krishna. And let me explain. That value is twofold. One is, I think of all the deities, there's, what a funny expression. Which deity do you feel like you would like to cuddle. In Krishna Janmashtami, we see these pictures of Bala Krishna, Lord Krishna as a little baby, and so cute. I think there is a kind of very attractive nature to Shri Krishna, not just as Bala Krishna, but in any form. You know, the stories of his being with the gopis, and there's so many of his very intimate stories when he's talking to Arjuna, when he's talking to Uddhava, very intimate stories, which make Shri Krishna perhaps uniquely well-suited for this Maha-Validation. But there's something further. I just said, you won't get spiritual advice from a therapist friend. And even if you're just sharing in meditation, meditating on your Ishta Devata, or even meditating on Shri Krishna is not going to come into your mind during meditation and start giving you spiritual instruction. It doesn't work that way. I mean, there may be a few, if Shri Krishna enters the mind of a great saint and gives instruction, that's one thing. If Shri Krishna enters the mind of someone suffering from tremendous emotional stress, it might be mental illness, right? This is no joke. This happens to people, and I meet many such people. So when Shri Krishna enters the mind of a great saint, that we can accept. If Shri Krishna enters the mind of someone who is suffering from mental illness, that's another matter altogether. So the point I'm making is, how does Shri Krishna give us spiritual advice? And what I'm suggesting is, don't expect Shri Krishna to show up, so to speak, in your meditation and start giving you instructions. That's not how it works. How does it work? It's called the Bhagavad Gita. This is where you receive Shri Krishna's spiritual instruction. It's so obvious. Don't wait for him to show up more in your dreams. Don't wait for Shri Krishna to show up in meditation or in your dreams. Shri Krishna is already present on your bookshelf. Why do you leave him on your bookshelf? He deserves a little more than that. Pull that Bhagavad Gita book off the bookshelf, and here is an opportunity to receive wonderful, both emotional advice and spiritual advice from Shri Krishna. But you have to make that effort to open that book and to study the book, read commentaries, watch my videos, whatever it is, whatever works for you, you will find that advice from Shri Krishna. Not in dreams, not in meditation, but from the Bhagavad Gita. And there's one particular verse that shows both of these elements, that shows Shri Krishna's powerful presence for that Maha-Validation, and simultaneously shows Shri Krishna's presence as Jagat Guru, as the teacher of us all, of the one who can give us the best spiritual wisdom. It's a favorite verse. We've actually used a whole verse for meditation before. It's the setting, of course, is the second half of chapter 1. And in the beginning of chapter 2, Arjuna pours out his heart. He is in bad shape. He's having an emotional meltdown, and he is sharing all of his problems and concerns with Shri Krishna. At the conclusion of that portion of the dialogue, we come to this is one of my favorite verses from the Bhagavad Gita, where Arjuna really opens up his heart to the maximum, and he tells, this is Arjuna's words, not Shri Krishna's words. Arjuna says, Karpanya dosha upahata svabhava. He admits that my mind is overcome by weakness. He's so emotional meltdown, really. And he says, Prichami tvam dharma samudha cheta. He says, I'm confused. Dharma samudha cheta. My mind is not clear about what is the path of dharma. Should I stay on the battlefield and fight, or should I withdraw from the battle so I don't have to fight against my relatives? And he says, Prachami tvam. So I ask you, Shri Krishna, yat shreya syat. What is best? Nishchitam bruhitan me. Tell me that very clearly. What is best? What should I do? Should I stay on this battlefield, or should I depart? This is a very anguished moment for Shri Krishna, for Arjuna, and it's a very moving verse in the Bhagavad Gita. If you want to look at it when you get home, chapter 2, verse 7. And then he concludes, Shishyasteham. I am your shishya, your student. Shadhima, teach me. Tvam prapannam, the one who has fallen at your feet. And that's literally true, because at this point, Shri Krishna has thrown down his bow and arrows and has already fallen to the seat of the chariot at the end of chapter 1, and now at the feet of Shri has fallen to the seat of his chariot at the end of chapter 1. And here he is at the feet of Shri Krishna, begging for spiritual advice. This verse in general I find so moving because it conveys both of these elements. Turning to Shri Krishna for Maha-Validation, prayerful healing, we can call it. Maha-Validation is a kind of emotional healing you receive in prayer and prayerful meditation. And then the other side is the receptivity for spiritual guidance, for spiritual teaching. Both of these are conveyed in this lovely verse. We're going to use the last part of the verse, the last line of the verse. We're going to repeat it for the sake of meditation. Let me put it on the board. I think it will be helpful. You push forward, just push forward. This is spacing out here. Excuse me. Yeah. Just to come. Okay. That. Fit. This is the last of the 4 quarters of verse 2. Verse 7. Shishyaste shadhima tvam prapannam. It's okay. So the meaning once again. Aham, I am te shishyaha. I am your student. Aham, I, te shishyaha. I am your student. Shadhimam, teach me. Tvam prapannam, the one who is surrendered, tvam, unto you. So this is such a beautiful line. We've used it for meditation before, and we'll use it here today. We'll recite it in a prayerful manner in meditation, using it like a mantra. It's not a mantra, but the meaning of it is so wonderful, and it evokes certain emotions. We can certainly recite it as a mantra for our meditation. Okay, with that, we can begin our meditation. You'll need to push the button that says meditation. At the outset, you can close your eyes, please. Take a deep breath. Take a moment to get settled down. We begin with a sankalpa, in which we acknowledge the fact that we have complicated, busy lives with lots of unresolved problems. We don't want to be distracted by our worldly concerns as we're meditating. So right now, we can give ourselves permission to set aside all of our worldly problems and dedicate ourselves exclusively to this meditation just for the next 20 minutes. We'll continue with a brief exercise to concentrate our attention and relax our bodies. Start by turning your attention to your feet. Become aware of any pressure. Now, become aware of the sense of pressure as your feet press down upon the floor. Be aware of the firmness of the floor beneath you. And notice any other sensations in your feet. Touch of your clothing, warmth, coolness. And finally, notice if there's any tension in the muscles of your feet, and let go of that tension. Excuse me. Then turn to your ankles and calves. Again, become aware of sensations, pressure, touch of your clothing, warmth, coolness. Notice any tension in your ankles and calves, and let go of that tension. Then your knees and thighs in the same way. Become aware of sensations. For example, notice the weight of your hands or arms where they rest. Be aware of sensations and let go of any tension. Now, the trunk of your body. Feel the weight of your body pressing down on the seat. Feel the firmness of the seat beneath you. Let go of any tension. Your lower back and stomach together. Let go of any tension. Your upper back and chest. Notice the touch of your clothing that hangs on your body. Relax muscles of your shoulders, upper arms and elbows. Relax muscles of your forearms, wrists, hands, palm, fingers, right up to your fingertips. Relax muscles of your neck, head, face, all of your body. We'll begin by chanting Om 3 times, quite softly, and be sure to match my pitch. Using these lovely words of Arjuna to lead us to that place of Maha-Validation where we feel Shri Krishna's unconditional acceptance for us as we are with all of our problems and shortcomings. And in addition to that Maha-Validation, we also open ourselves to Shri Krishna for spiritual advice in the form of his teachings found in the Bhagavad Gita. Listen and repeat at first. Shishyasteham shahimam tvam prapannam. Shishyasteham shahimam tvam prapannam. Listen. Shishyasteham shahimam tvam prapannam. Shishyasteham shahimam tvam prapannam. Listen. Shishyasteham shahimam tvam prapannam. Shishyasteham shahimam tvam prapannam. Shishyasteham shahimam tvam prapannam. Shishyasteham shahimam tvam prapannam. Shishyasteham, I am your student. Shadhimam, teach me. Prapannam, surrendered at your feet. Listen and repeat one more time. Shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. Repeat. Shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. Listen. Shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. Shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. Listen. Shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. simply in silence. concludes our meditation. You can open your eyes. Very nice. In the Uddhava Gita class, we'll continue almost like it's a discussion between Arjuna and Shri Krishna, except it's between Uddhava and Shri Krishna, but a topic from the Bhagavad Gita, where Arjuna asks Shri Krishna in chapter 10, please reveal to me your divine glories. So that same topic comes here in the Uddhava Gita. We'll take a brief break right now, and then we'll resume in about 10 minutes. I'll come back and join you for our Uddhava Gita class. And meanwhile, you can stretch your legs. And
All right, that concludes our meditation. Today is the longest meditation we've ever done. So thank you, Sky Guardian, for sending this from your guru today. It's very nice that we have such a private meditation extended to our sangha as it was live in his satsanga today. So thank you all for joining, even if it was just for a little bit. I'm happy to go through that with you. You loved this meditation, Dansuela? Oh, I'm happy to hear that. Thank you for those who sent a gift whilst we were meditating. Hybrid Jen, thank you for your heart me and your pair of disco loves. Radhe oh Radhe. Giuliano, thank you for your rose, ice cream cone, cloud bread, and a Gigi. Hare Krishna. And Andy Mac, thank you for your rose. Hari Om Tat Sat. And thank you, Jarrett, for your heart me. Radhe oh Radhe. And Gina, thank you for your trio of roses. Jai Shri Krishna. So we are coming to the close of today's Sangha, but I wanted to also take a moment to share the 2-minute meditation again that we did yesterday. We had some technical difficulties. I really wanted to share with you this interview. And we did actually get to share it, but after a lot of troubles. But I'd like to share with you all again. This is an interview that one of our Sangis, Dansuela, was participating in. She is an artist, among many other things. And where are you in my inbox? I really wanted to share this this interview with you all. Here it is. I think it's wonderful. It's gonna take a second to load. But yeah, the other day Dansuela had mentioned that she was in an interview, and I thought, oh, I would like to share that interview with everyone here. It's just a 2-minute video as well as a news article that we won't read on indigenous art with the theme of ancestral manifestations, past, present, and future. I think it's lovely. For some reason, the article isn't loading today. I'll give it a minute. There, now it's loaded. Okay. I'm going to bring this up as well, since I said I would. Just gonna make sure that my audio isn't gonna blow you into the next dimension, since we cranked it up for a 45-minute meditation. It's okay. I know I'm under no obligation to share again, but I feel compelled to. It's so lovely. So the news article is called 11 Local Indigenous Artists Featured in Newest Exhibit. Very fun.
The Yamanika Arts Center's newest exhibit is an indigenous group exhibit showcasing a blend of well-known community artists and new talent. With a theme of ancestral manifestations, past, present, and future, this exhibit features a wide variety of art styles focusing on many aspects of indigenous culture.
I'm still studying the art form from old designs that our ancestors have been making for thousands and thousands of years. And I keep going further and further into that and discovering, like, how did they create this without tracing paper, without digital art form? They were true masters of the art, and it was a very fine art.
A Wet'suwet'en artist who paints in a Northwest Coast native art style, Nazelle has been studying this art form for many years, and she says both exploring the history of indigenous art and creating her own has been a way for her to connect with and share in her culture.
And I wanted to share before seeing Donsuela's art that this first artist, that's precisely the art style that's in the indigenous, the First Nation community where I live. And I live right next to the reserve. In fact, my street is pretty much the boundary of it. So I get to see all that art all around me all the time. So it's like, say, a little piece of home here. But after her is Donsuela.
We would research our nation and gain pride in that.
Métis artist Dawn Garcia is also featured, and she says her art connects her with a heritage she didn't grow up with, and as an adult, she's been able to connect not only with her own past, but the past of her ancestors and her Métis identity.
We had been taught, you have to either, pick a side. Like, are you indigenous? Are you white? Where does that fit? And no, we're neither. Like, being Métis, you're a fully realized culture.
For Garcia, it's not just an exploration of self-identity and reconciling her past. Art also connects her to the Métis community and spirit.
When I heard the words that Louis Riel had said about, my people will sleep for 100 years, but when they awaken, the artists will be the ones who bring their spirits back. And that really resonated with me.
The exhibit will be displayed for the rest of the month in the Ominika Arts Center, where you can see Garcia's, Nazel's, and 9 other talented artists' work on display. Tommy Osborne, CKPG News.
So cool. I remember learning about Louis Riel. That was fun. I love that quote so much. I'm so happy that we got to share it today as well. So thank you for mentioning that, Donsuela. I'm very honored to have you here. Such a beautiful artist with beautiful art. Oh my goodness. This is a First Nation word I'm definitely not familiar with. But Satsi, she's a lovely Wet'suwet'en artist from the region here. I am going to be receiving tips on how to pronounce that better next time. Nonetheless. Mm-hmm. Oh, and you're very welcome, Donsuela. And yeah, I think you really opened the door to a whole other kind of segment which we could have here, which is showcasing all of your lovely talents and skills, all of you. If any of you have some art you'd love to share, I think it'd be a lovely place, and I'd be very happy to use this platform to share more from all of you too. My space is your space. What's mine is yours, what yours is yours. My pronunciation was so close. Oh, that's good. Wet'suwet'en. Okay. Thank you. Aw, stray kids' voices. You share. You're watching this whilst the sun is preparing to rise and the birds are singing at 4:45 in the morning in the UK. My goodness. Well, good morning. We call that hour Brahma Muhurti in Sanskrit. It's the hour of God, where the first light comes. It's a very sacred time. Thank you, Gina, for your roses. And Liz, thank you for your heart me. Hari Om Tat Sat. Then guess what? My live didn't get restricted this time. It's a miracle. Okay, I'm going inside. It's windy and cold, and I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your evening, afternoon, night, morning, whatever it may be for you. Thank you all for being here. As always, I'll be uploading the recording of this live stream to my Yamsox Lives YouTube channel, as well as Rumble and Odyssey. Those are more accessible places for you. They are all linked in the link tree in my bio. Thank you, Gina. Good night, Taylin. Good night, Cookie. Much love to you. Thank you, Marlon. And thank you, Liz, for your beaver and sunglasses. Radhe, Radhe. A beautiful gift. And Isabella, thank you for your finger heart. Here is one for you too. May this live stream be an offering to Sri Radha Krishna. I bow to that divinity within you. Radhe Krishna, Radhe Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Shyam Shyam, Radhe Radhe. Maybe I can wear multiple hats next time. I'll have to see if Father's Day tomorrow, my time to see my father, is gonna cut into my live stream. I'll let you know. Whenever there's a schedule change, I post it on my Instagram story. But otherwise, tomorrow will be an ASMR edition, ASMR Sunday, which means I'll try to be soft-spoken, indeed, and full of affirmation and validation. So we won't go too deep into anything esoteric or I won't be so hard. As the day goes, as we approach Sunday, up to Saturday, sometimes we go into some really high levels, but Sundays always ground us again in love and peace and rest. So I'm excited for that. Thank you, Cookie. I will enjoy my time with my father. And I love you all. You are loved. May you all have a wonderful rest of your present moment. Take care, everyone.